our studio audience introduce himself. Jose has an amazing story. He's going to be speaking at our Speak Out for Tolerance Summit in just a few days on November 16th. For those of you watching the live stream, that's in just 2 days. We're still looking for a couple more speakers to help us raise money for ADL and to speak out for tolerance. Jose, tell us, give us the thumbnail 1-minute version of your amazing, incredible story that obviously takes more than 1 minute to talk about in the best way, but go.
Yeah, well, in 1 minute, I'm a guy that I was a former oil and gas executive during 35 years that in 2017 went through a situation that I received a phone call to go to a business trip in Caracas, Venezuela, and it became to be a settlement. I became an international hostage during 5 years. That was during the past administration here that was imposing a lot of sanctions in Venezuela, and we inadvertently get caught in that situation. And our negotiation between the U.S. government and Venezuela became really tense, and that became my 5 years of being hostage. I was released in October last year through a prisoner swap. And when I came back, I began to work with this hostage community that today I'm advocate for them. But I decided to convert this ordeal in something really meaningful. And today I combine my experience that I have during my 35 years in the oil and gas in the management side with this surviving experience. And I created a coaching program, and I'm helping companies today that are going through adverse situation in management and leadership and communication, etc. I have this speech that's called From Captivity to Freedom, where I talk about this, and I wrote my book that today I'm promoting. So that is basically the three things that I there. And my fourth is the passion and the vocation that I'm doing with the hostage community. They're working with like 4 or 5 foundations here in the U.S. that work and support this community. And by the way, the situation that is happening in the Middle East has put this to the rocket. So this is something that today I extensively talk about it. And by the way, in your event next Thursday, part of the thing is the intolerance, and that's important. So that's why I'm really honored to be with you in there, because all of this is related to abuse and intolerance. So I'm going to be talking about that. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jose. You're so welcome. You may, if you may remember, the news story is under the Citgo 6, if that rings a bell. That's where, that's how Jose became a headline, an unwilling headline, of course. But so, and now he's turned, made his story into a positive, taking a positive spin on his experiences, and we're grateful that he made it, that he's back alive and able to tell his story and help people. It's pretty incredible. So we shared a stage a couple months ago here in Dallas, and that's how we met. So thank you so much, Jose. We're thrilled you're here.
I mentioned you something because hearing your start, because as I'm connected to the hostage community, and the foundation that I'm connected and supporting them, like the James Foley Foundation, Hostage USA, or Hostage A Worldwide, they're right now really very active supporting the families that are going through this situation in Israel. And then today I received a call that they're going to ask me to maybe prepare like a video, like a speak to them, to give them some message to the family that are going through this, because this is a story that always resonates to me, because my family went through this situation, and today for me it's kind of a mission to try to help them. And unfortunately, this is a family you never wanted to be part, but you become part of it. So these people that are going through this situation now are becoming part of the family. So it's unfortunately a growing family that you never want to, but my message to them is try to give them hope, faith, and persist and become part of the movement to put and pressure this practice to stop. So I wanted to say that because it really resonates what you were saying, Jeff. I didn't know your story. It's a really,
I appreciate that. Yeah. There's not enough folks that know this story. We want to try and tell it more, and I've been I've been a little bit lax because of my platform and to not share enough of it, but that ends now. So we'll be telling the story more.
Thank you, Jeff, for that story. That is amazing. And you probably should have a reunion, because there's probably hundreds from your father bringing 30. Jose, tell me again, what country are you from?
I'm Venezuelan born. I'm dual citizen, but I was kept in Venezuela. Venezuela is a regime today that maybe people are not so aware, but this regime is supported by the Russian, by the Iranian, and by the Chinese and the Cuban. So there is like a four. And what they have been doing is refining this technique that is called the hostage diplomacy. That's what is happening today in Israel. And we have today more than 64 Americans in that situation, and more than 60 that already have years. I am part of a group called the Bringer Family Home Campaign. There are families that have people in Iran. People have families in China. There are 5 guys that were released recently from Iran. That was a big deal because they frozen some funds. Because the problem that's happening with this is you become a political pawn, and they begin to ask a lot for you. So these guys that were released in Iran, for example, they had to unfrozen $6 billion in an accounting. So in my case, I was swapped by the 2 nephews of the president of Venezuela. And they were asking for us.
Sorry, you were swapped by the 2 nephews?
2 nephews of the president of Venezuela. They were drug lords here in a jail in Miami. They freed them, and I was swapped. I was swapped in a Caribbean island in October, in an island called San Vicente. So we were landed in an island, and the American plane came with these 2 guys, and we were swapped like in the movies, you know. No, you go to the plane, and you go to the plane, and that's how I went back, because there was hard negotiation. The problem with this practice is they take you like a human pawn, and then begin to act things for you. That's what Hamas is doing today with Israelis, and it's what the Chinese are doing, the Russians are doing, because this is like a copy paste. It's a technique. They try to put you in a psychological point that you have to begin to beg for help, your family beg for help, and then makes pressure in the government. So it's really, really serious. And today, one of the things they are doing is being very vocal on this, because people are not aware about this. So when this situation in Israel popped up, it popped up, but we have more than 60 people that have years there, 10 years, 8 years.
I think Americans are aware. I mean, I've been aware that we have political hostages abroad.
Yeah. If we're aware, let me tell you, today,
but you're not aware of all the intricacies necessarily that it takes.
The problem that's happening with this, the normal people doesn't know that this is happening. Today, the thing is more. If I go back 6 years ago when my situation happened, there has been done a lot, because today there is a special office called the Special Presidential Office for Hostage Affairs. It's attached to the Secretary of the Department, so it's like a subsecretary that take care of this. There are these foundations like the James Foley Foundation, Hostage US, Hostage Aid Worldwide. These 3 foundations, the Richardson Center, they take care. Today they are involved in the Israeli situation, but the common people are not aware.
It's going on enough that there's a presidential appointment for it. Wow.
Same. Yeah, it's a serious.
That's when you know it's real and it's going on.
And when it's happening to somebody, the problem is that you never think this can happen to you until it happens.
Right. Well, now, because it's 250 people, and there's so many people who know one of these people on these posters. So it's All right. Well,
there's still 250 Americans being held.
No, 250 Israelis. Some of them, 50 or 60. That's okay. 50 or 60 are Americans. We don't know I don't know if anybody knows the exact number, because we don't know how many of them are still alive. We don't know.
Correct.
If they took toddlers. We don't know if those kids are being taken care of. It's insane.
Yeah.
And there are people who are tearing down posters of these hostages, and I don't understand that at all. You can be on whatever side there is to be on. I don't understand that either, but there are people who tear these posters down as if that's some sort of act of helping. I don't know who they think they're helping by tearing these posters.
Because this is part of the intolerance, my friend. This is part of the intolerance.
You're correct.
So you were held hostage how long, Jose?
5 years. 5 years.
In Venezuela. When were you taken hostage and when were you released?
I was taken hostage in November 21, 2017. I live here in Houston. So I was called to a meeting. They called me to go to a business trip. I went, I did a presentation because I was the CEO of the company at the moment. And we were running a revamp of a refinery in Aruba. I went to present the project. I was in the stage, 1,000 people, and suddenly appear there is a counterintelligence military police. All this country has it. It's like a Praetorian police. The Iranians has it, the Chinese has it, the Russians has it, and the Venezuelan and the Cuban, all of them have it. So this is the police that took it, and they put it. We stayed 5 years in a military basement, and the situation began to be really serious when they expelled the ambassador, and that relations were lost. So when that office, that special presidential office, was created in 2021, was the first time they began to have direct conversation. And 1 year after, I was released in October. I have only 13 months. I came back. So yeah. So
I was going to say, Jose's only been free for a year.
I have only a year. Yeah.
So
you were CEO of a company, and you were someone that they felt they could use as pawn.
Because the problem, the hostage diplomacy is exactly that you're a normal guy, but you have to have some target profile because they want to negotiate for you. So they take a businessman, they take a religious guy, they take maybe diplomats. So they take all
people with hostage insurance. That's a big one nowadays.
Yeah.
All right, we have to wrap up, but you can learn more about Jose's story on Thursday. Tune in there. Let me have to stop the Facebook feed because we were live streaming and not even sure who's been watching the live stream. But thank you, Facebook. We appreciate that, and we'll end the live stream, and we'll end the recording. And thank you so much for being here. There we go. Stop.